When I was still in the hospital right after ostomy surgery and I was learning how to put on my ostomy bag for the first times, I kind of just thought that was it. That's all there is to this. Wow, was I wrong. The world of accessories available to ostomy patients then and even more so now is just astonishing. Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and as promised, I am going to go over a ton of ostomy accessories that are available to us with stomas to help us either get our ostomy bags to stick better or to adapt to everyday life so you can enjoy all the things that you did before surgery, or maybe enjoy things more now that you've had surgery. If you missed it, I also did a video on all of the features available for ostomy appliances, which means just the ostomy bags and the flanges, and I told you guys that I was going to make a video covering all of the accessories that I could think of, and I do have a number of examples. I don't have everything that I'm going to talk about, but I do have most of it. I'm hoping that this video will encourage the patients that maybe they don't have a stoma yet, or maybe you're already sitting there with one and you're struggling with it. I'm hoping that this shows you truly how much is out there and how much ostomy care is being worked on. There are so many things out there that help you with your skin condition and helping your bag stick longer than an hour and making you feel more comfortable and confident, making you feel like your ostomy is more discreet. Just so many things that I use all the time that I was not aware of when I first got my ostomy. So there's going to be a lot in this video. Again, I want to mention my friend Vegan Ostomy. He is a great YouTuber on here. He doesn't post actively, I think, anymore, but he has a fantastic blog. And on his blog, there is a page that lists a bunch of different ostomy product manufacturers and who gives out the free samples. So I'm going to link that below, and I'm going to link as many of the products that I show you today in the description below as well. So let's dive into this. Okay, I have a whole basket here filled with just all the accessories. So we're going to go through this. I think the thing we'll start with is all of the skin prep items, and that's going to be our skin barriers, our adhesive removers, and our adhesives. The one accessory item that you probably heard about in the hospital is skin barrier, and this is something to help protect your skin from any output that might land on your skin, that might seep under the flange. But it also creates a nice smooth surface for your ostomy appliance to adhere to. And there are a variety of different skin barriers. I think every ostomy bag company makes their own version, as well as other ostomy brands. Maybe they don't make ostomy bags, but they make, you know, the accessory items. What I have here is a skin barrier spray, which is what I use the most often. I think it's the easiest to use with powder, as well as a skin barrier wipe. This is something that you can gently press into the skin. And then in the hospital, a lot of the times you'll see what are sometimes referred to as lollipops. It comes on a stick. It's got like a little pad at the end that contains the skin barrier and it kind of helps you navigate around the stoma. Maybe you're not quite comfortable touching your stoma yet. You can get those as well. So a number of different types of skin barrier. This is what I use every time that I do my bag change, just to protect my skin and also to seal in any other products that I use, like powder or Flonase, which is what I use to keep my skin calm. There's another level of skin barrier that I used to use when I had my allergy to Coloplast products before I realized that my skin didn't like them. And it was called Marathon. The active ingredient in it is cyanoacrylate. I'll put it across the screen because I don't know if I said that right. Anyways, I think it's very similar to super glue. It creates a really nice thick layer on your skin. If you've ever accidentally gotten like Gorilla Glue on your hands or your fingertips, it feels sort of the same on your skin. But what it does is it creates a really great barrier between you and your flange, and that's why I used it. And it can seal in stuff so much better than your typical skin barrier. It is more expensive though. So the brand that I was using was Marathon. There are other versions of it that are a little bit cheaper, but that stuff is fantastic. Usually it comes in a little looks like a little glow stick, and you have to crack it, and it has a little pad at the end of it where it kind of fills up with the fluid, and you can wipe it on your skin. Now let's get into adhesive removers. This is something, at least in my experience, my hospital did not have ostomy specific adhesive removers. They had the type that is a little bit more oily that I do not recommend using around your stoma, because then your skin's all oily and nothing will stick to it. But there are ostomy specific ones that don't leave your skin all oily. And for the new patient in the hospital, it's a little bit raw around your stoma. You're not used to sticking stuff on there, peeling it off. You also just had an incision made there. So removing an ostomy flange can be a little bit painful. I highly recommend, if you are heading into stoma surgery, get yourself a bottle of adhesive remover spray or even adhesive remover wipes. I would say probably the spray would work better, because as you're trying to peel the bag off, you spray it where it's sticking to you, and it kind of just falls off of your skin. It's really incredible, but it takes away that pain. It also preserves your skin, so you're not peeling off, unnecessary layers of skin that you want to keep. And I also love that typically with ostomy adhesive remover wipes, they're a bit larger than your typical adhesive remover that you might use if you're removing an IV or whatever. They're big wipes, so you can make it last a little bit longer, really get your skin clean. Again, I use a wipe every single time that I do my ostomy bag change. It really gets me the cleanest surface, and that is so important to changing your ostomy bag. Do not leave any paste or any residue, because it will absolutely impact the ability for the bag to adhere. The last thing I want to talk about is adhesives. Generally, you don't really need adhesive. Your flange is going to contain that adhesive for you, so most people find that they don't need additional stickiness, but just in case you feel like you need more stickiness to your flange, there are different adhesives designed to go around the ostomy. This one here is called Skin Tack. This is a wipe. It's very sticky, so it will get on your fingers, but it did, when I had trouble with my flange sticking, really did help me get it to stick a little bit longer. There's also spray adhesive. I find that the nozzle gets clogged very quickly, so I tend to avoid those. I like the wipes better. And then another one that I've used is from New Hope. They have a jar of adhesive. Just make sure to keep it upright in your drawers, in your bathroom, or else it might come open and spill everywhere and permanently ruin the drawer. Oftentimes though, when it comes to ostomy care, the less you use, the better. The more product you put on your skin, the less the flange is going to stick. So I don't use these anymore. I usually just stick with my skin barrier. The next thing I want to talk about is your barrier rings, your strip paste, your regular tube paste. These are all items that are generally used right around the stoma. They kind of act as caulking, and as the material from them absorbs some of the effluent, some of the output, it really molds to your shape of stoma and your size of stoma. It acts like a caulking, and they come in such a variety. Some people prefer to use paste, which I have a few examples here. This one is a Coloplast Brava paste. This is an Adapt Hollister paste. This one here is a sample from Trio, and it's actually a silicone paste. It's very interesting. But what all of these do is they fill in the gaps. They provide a smooth surface right around your stoma, so you put your flange on top of it, and it helps kind of block out any output that's trying to sneak under your flange. Some people really prefer the paste. It can be a little bit messy, and it can be difficult to remove. I have found personally, I used to use paste all the time. I found personally that, you want to use a nice thin layer right on the flange, right around your stoma. I never liked putting it on my skin around the stoma. I liked putting it on the flange, right around the opening. And this really worked well for me and really removed easily when the flange stuck for a few days. Because what it does is it does absorb a little bit of your output, and it becomes more kind of congealed, kind of becomes a one piece rather than this like sticky, wet mess. It does kind of thicken up over a few days. So it was a lot easier to remove when I wasn't having issues with leaking and I had to change my flange often, that's when I would really use this. If you're not feeling the mess of stoma paste, you might want to go for something like a ring or a barrier strip. These are made pretty much from the same material. These rings are designed to go right around your stoma. You can kind of stretch them out. I like to put them on the flange. Again, I just think it's easier than trying to navigate Leroy. They come in a variety of sizes. This one is the same brand, the same thing as the little one here, but clearly it's a bit larger. They also come in different thicknesses, and I actually opt for the slim ones. This is the 𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗 Cohesive Slim. I used to use the Adapt Slim barrier rings when I used Hollister, because I found that when I was using the regular thickness of these rings, it actually put a lot of pressure around my stoma and my skin was kind of purple. Like I could see where the barrier ring was laying on my skin. So I got a little bit fearful of getting a pressure injury. When you have too much pressure on any part of your body, your skin can start to break down. So because it's already an at-risk area, I just didn't want to mess with it. And I don't really have too many issues with leaks anyway, so this works really well. The thing about barrier rings, if you have tried them and you're like, you know what, this really isn't working for me, it isn't sticking well, not all barrier rings are designed the same. I have used the Brava Coloplast ones, I've used the Convatec Econs, and I've used the Hollister Adapt ones for all of them for a significant amount of time, and they all act a lot different. I personally found the Brava ones did not seem to stick to me very well. I would say out of the three, in my own personal experience, they were the least sticky. With Hollister, I found that they were a lot more firm, but they were really sticky, and that was actually what I preferred to use in the hospital with some of my patients that really struggled to get their flange to stick, like they were experiencing a lot of leaks. And then I noticed with Convatec, this seems to be the softest. I think that this is the most comfortable, which has been great for somebody who has granulomas. I have one that's like kind of at the top right corner of my stoma. I have had it for years, and it's why I switched from paste to rings, because the paste would kind of wear down, and then I would have the hard edge of my flange sit right at that junction where my stoma and skin meet. And it rubbed against it, and that's kind of what causes that granuloma or that granulation tissue to grow. And they are painful, at least I think they are, and they bleed a lot. So this has been a huge help. It helped reduce the size of it by so much, and now it really doesn't hurt. I can see where it is. I can see where it would be if I let it grow, but this baby is good. If you feel like you need a little bit more customization, something like a barrier strip or, a paste strip, whatever you want to call it, strip paste, this can be really good to tear pieces off, fill in divots around your stoma if you need to make your skin a bit more even, or you can just break off a small piece and make your own ring. That's actually how I started with ostomy care. I don't remember there being too many options when it came to ostomy rings, but there was strip paste, and so my dad would take off a little piece, make a ring that fit around my stoma, and that's how we did it. So you've got a variety of options when it comes to both the tube paste and the barrier rings or the strips, so try them out, get a sample, see if you find something you like. Some people don't use any of it. Some people just put their flange on and they're good to go. It is totally fine. As long as it works for you, you've got your method. I totally think that ostomy care is an art and not a science. The next thing I want to talk about is actually a feature that is designed into most ostomy bags, and that's filters. Filters are usually at the top of an ostomy bag. They're a little opening with usually some sort of charcoal filter on it to allow gas to escape, but keep the ostomy contents, the output, in the bag. Did you know that you can buy those filters and put them on your bag yourself? I think the coolest design of this is the Osto Easy Vent. It's kind of like a little plug that you stick onto your ostomy bag towards the top where gas would collect, and you poke holes through the plastic of your ostomy bag, and so you can undo the little plug. It looks like, what does it look like? It's pretty much if you were to buy an inner tube for your pool in the summer, you know the little closure where you blow it up? That's pretty much what it is. That's what it looks like. And it doesn't have any sort of odor filter to it, so it's just letting the gas out of the top, but that's the coolest design. There are also other filters that do have the charcoal. They look like a sticker, kind of the same thing. You would poke holes at the top of your bag with a pin and then stick the filter over that, and it allows the gas to escape. I personally don't use either just because I use a 2-piece bag, and the easiest thing for me to do is burp the bag, but that's just a personal preference. And all that means is if you have a 2-piece where your bag is sticking to your flange, you just peel it back from the top a little bit so you can see down to your stoma, and you push the gas out. My favorite ostomy invention, and most people it seems do not know about this, not in the ostomy world, I mean beyond the ostomy world, is deodorizer. I did not realize how many people outside of the ostomy world just assume that ostomies smell bad and the people, have an odor to them. That is not the case. If you are using a good ostomy specific deodorizer, you're good. I think these are absolutely fantastic. So here I have the Ascenta one. This one has a little bit of like a powdery, I don't know, it has a nice scent to it. So if you're looking for something that maybe adds a little bit of scent to your bag and also neutralizes the bad odor, this is a great option. I also have M9 here. This is what my insurance covers, and this completely neutralizes any odor in my ostomy. So when I empty it, there's no odor. The only thing I don't like about this one is it is blue and it tends to stain things, so you have to be really careful when putting the droplets into your bag. But generally, these work by, placing a few drops or a few spritzes into the bag, and as your output goes into it, it gets neutralized. And for any regular person with a colon and a rectum who goes to the bathroom the old-fashioned way, you can't even use this, okay? We are elite with our ostomies. There is no reason for us to have odor, so we're just better than you. I'm totally kidding. But that's how I feel when it comes to this, because I'm just saying, I know people who go to the bathroom the regular way, and, you can use all the cover-up sprays you want, but you can't use this. Other people have found putting stuff like Altoids, like the mints, into their bag. That works for them. Some people use essential oil. Some people have found hydrogen peroxide useful for this. There's at-home ways to reduce the odor, but I just think the ones made for ostomies, they are so good. And also, if one doesn't work for you, if one brand doesn't work for you, don't give up on it. Try different brands. There's also Nascent. There's, I think Safe and Simple has a version of one, so try them out. They're so awesome. Sort of in that category, but also in a totally different category are the little gelling packets. This one is a Convatec one called Diamonds. Also, I think Trio Ostomy has pearls. They're very similar to the Diamonds. There's one called Parsorb. I think that one might actually be a loose, you pour it in there. I just prefer the packet because I can just put this whole thing into my ostomy bag, and not only does it neutralize the odor, but it also gels up the contents. So when my ostomy output is really liquidy or really loose, this thickens it up. It makes it a little less likely for the output to leak under my flange. The next thing is powder. So Stoma Powder, every brand makes their own version of this. I have always preferred Stoma Adhesive because this is what I went home from the hospital with, and it's worked great for my skin irritation. This is a powder that when your skin starts to break down around your stoma, say you have, you had a leak, sometimes the enzymes in your output can break down the skin. This is a powder that helps to dry it out, helps it to heal. You only need a very small amount, and I would not recommend using powder every time you change your ostomy bag. I know that there are people that do that and they have no issues. I just find it really makes it difficult for my ostomy to stick. After you put on a really light coating over your open areas of skin, you seal it in with a skin barrier, and that's where that skin barrier spray comes in. I just squirt it over top, and it's supposed to seal it in. It does a really great job of that, but I still notice there's like a little bit of a powdery touch to the skin. So I use this very sparingly, and half the time I give it to my sister-in-law because it's good for diaper rash too. There are prescription stoma powders called nystatin, and that's for stuff like fungal infections, but that's something you would have to go to your wound, ostomy, and continence nurse or your surgeon or whoever you seek for ostomy care. They have to prescribe it to you. Another cool item, and I've had a couple people recommend this for me with the way that I use ostomy bags. I always hate to mention it because I always get so many people going, "Are you sure you like that? Are you sure you're doing it right when you empty your bag?" I like to use the non-drainable bags. It's just what I've been doing for forever, and I find it so much easier. They're so much more sleek, and I feel like it's clean, more clean than trying to drain a drainable pouch. So anyways, something really cool that people have recommended to me, and I don't use it because I don't have a lot of trouble just emptying from the ring, but something recommended to me was a liner. Now, I believe that this liner here is from Colo Magic. I don't know if they exist anymore. They had actually reached out to me and sent me samples of this, and then I didn't hear from them again. So, but I think it's really cool. So basically, it's a very, very thin, flushable, I don't know if you would call this plastic, but it is just a very, very thin, flushable liner that if I can get my very smooth hands to undo. I feel like I'm at the grocery store trying to open a bag. Well, I just put a hole through this one. Whoops. Don't put a hole through it like I just did, but you'll very carefully take the liner and place it into your ostomy bag, and then you want to leave a little bit of a neck hanging out here, and because it's so thin, you can actually just click your bag onto it. Obviously, make sure it looks a little bit more smoother than I did. And what this does is, as your stoma empties out into the liner, you can then just take the liner and flush it, and your ostomy bag is pretty much brand new. Now, the next item I'm going to talk about is probably the most commonly made at home item, and that's ostomy pouch covers. You can go onto Etsy, you can just Google. So many people make these and sell them, and they come in all different designs and have different functionalities. I've got my Stoma Cloak one here. Actually, this is my older one. I just did a video with them, but this is my older one because it's longer. I like this one because it helps with odor and stuff and kind of helps with my leaks that I get occasionally from my ring. I also have this guy. This one I have had probably 13 years. I had it from very early on of having my ostomy, and it's kind of like pretty and silky. It's got, I don't think people make them this shape so much anymore. They try to shape them to ostomy bags, but this is CNS pouch covers. I'm not really sure how active CNS pouch covers are anymore, but back when I first got my ostomy, they had a variety, and they even had one that had, it was made out of towel material. So after you shower with your ostomy bag, you could put this on and it helps dry it. I don't know where I put it, but I have one. It's pink. I've shown it in videos probably years ago now, but that thing is held up over the years and is fantastic, and I just recommended it to somebody. I'll try and find it and put it in the description below, but so many different ostomy covers. Some are just, you know, to look cute and fancy. Others have function to them, so very cool. In that same realm, we have ostomy bands, and these are basically just like a cute little band that you put around your belly that can help smooth out the ostomy bag. A lot of them have little pockets inside of them for your ostomy to sit. This is a Simply Beautiful one. She's really lovely, and she's got a ton more on her website now, so I'll put that link below as well. But so many different brands make these as well. I like my Convatec one because it's all lacy. It's very similar to this, but I would say it's a bit thinner, a bit more low profile. This one is definitely for stretchy time. So yeah, there's such a variety of these out there as well. Another cool item for when you're changing your ostomy is the StomaGenie. This is kind of a standalone product. I think they are the only ones that make something like this. And it's basically a tube that has some cotton, some absorbative cotton in the end of it. and you place it over your stoma while you're changing your ostomy bag. So that way, if your stoma gets active and output starts coming out, it's got it. It's catching it all. So it's really neat. Place it right over the stoma, and then it's designed with the shape of it to actually allow you to place your flange. I don't have one close enough for me to show you, but you can place your flange, like the hole where your stoma sits, right over it. So your stoma is not exposed while you're changing your ostomy at all. One item that I think is really useful if you're going swimming or, you know, sitting in a hot tub or sitting in the bath and you're worried about the life of your flange sticking to you. I've personally found that my flanges stick in water as long as I'm not staying in the water for a long time. When I start to sit in the water for a long time, I will notice the edges of my flange peel up a little bit, but I've actually had them re-stick once they dry out. But if you are worried about that, you might want to look into flange extenders. These are great. They go right around where your flange sits, kind of acts as an additional barrier and helps to seal out water. Or if you just want to extend your flange, if you feel like it's too small on your belly, this works too. It's why it's called a flange extender. These are the Coloplast Brava ones. I had trouble with these as well, with my skin reacting to them. The one that I really loved, I think is fantastic, is the Trio silicone ones. Oh my gosh. If you want a flange extender that feels like you're not wearing a flange extender, that's what bugged me the most about these, is I could feel them. The Trio silicone one feels like skin. Another item that people really love to use are ostomy belts, and these are the belts that are specific to whatever brand of ostomy bag you're using. Each manufacturer has their own version of the belt. You may notice that there are little belt loops on your flange or on your ostomy bag. That's how the belt connects, and it helps to hold the bag against you. I don't use them because they irritate the living daylights out of me. I don't like something around my waist. It's just irritating, but a lot of people find them really helpful. So they'll wear them at night, or they'll wear them when they're getting active and they don't want the bag to come unattached to their flange. I have had that happen in the ocean and have walked up the beach with my intestine hanging out. It can happen, so that is definitely a way that you could use it to prevent that. I'm just one of those people who gets really easily irritated by them. But typically you pick out your brand of bag. So if you're using Hollister, just go on their website and look up a ostomy belt for Hollister, and it should attach to your bag. And it's typically something that you would reuse, so you only need one or two of them, and you can get them replaced, and they're fairly cheap. There are also protective belts, and that's something that I did use quite a bit more. These are belts that have a guard piece, so it's kind of similar to the ostomy belt, goes around your waist, but over your stoma, there's a little piece of whatever it's made out of to protect your stoma. I had a few that I owned throughout the years. I got them mainly because I wanted to play soccer towards the end of high school. I had always played soccer, and after I got my ostomy, I was so fearful that I would get kicked in the stomach. So I got an ostomy belt, and that was really useful. It just kind of gave me ease of mind. I wore them on roller coasters when I first started going back on roller coasters. I don't anymore because I found nothing really presses on my ostomy. I will tell you, would have been useful for work when I was a nurse, because I was a pediatric nurse, and more than once I got kicked in the stomach. So could have been helpful there. Thankfully, Leroy was totally fine, but I did get kicked in the stoma directly one time, and I had to take a minute after that. There are also hernia belts. These are very I almost said constrictive, but they are constrictive. These are very thick belts with an opening for where your ostomy bag would come out, and it just provides a lot of structure to your belly, a lot of protection, because as many of you know, we're at risk for hernias. We've already had incisions in our abdominal wall, and that kind of gives a little way for a hernia to occur. So these belts help to keep everything in, especially if you're doing abdominal workouts. I do get asked quite frequently, like, have I had a hernia? Do I fear a hernia? I don't know if it's because my original ostomy surgery happened over 14 years ago and I was young when I had it. I don't know if that kind of helped in getting my abdominal strength to where it is, But in pelvic floor therapy, that was one of the things that was evaluated because I wanted to prepare for pregnancy. And we evaluated my abdominal strength. We talked about, oh my gosh, the term is escaping me now, but when your muscles come apart in pregnancy, diastasis recti, is that it? Yeah. I was evaluated for the risk, my risk of that, and my pelvic floor therapist actually thought it was low because of how strong everything felt, my abdominal tone, and how my scar had healed. It's very healed. I know it doesn't look good, but it's actually in pretty good shape. The item that I have recently been loving, and it's made such a huge difference, is the Stoma Dome. So this kind of acts like a guard in itself. It attaches to your ostomy bag with Velcro. So there is a little kind of half moon piece of Velcro that you would place onto your ostomy bag. And then this guy sticks on top of it. So you try to aim it where your stoma is sitting. But it can be protective. The reason I got it though is because it helps to lift your clothing off of your stoma. I found with high-waisted jeans, which I'm actually wearing today, or high-waisted yoga pants, it really constricted my stoma and made my output stay at the top. And it would make it leak and it was uncomfortable. This guy, because there is a little opening at the bottom there, allows my output to flow to the bottom of the bag, which has been absolutely fantastic. I can't recommend this enough. I have been using it almost every day that I'm wearing higher pants. So really cool. And speaking of the Stoma Dome, with your output being able to get to the bottom of a bag, that's an item I did forget. Lubricating deodorant. It is a type of lubricant that you put directly into the bag, and it allows for thicker output to slide to the bottom. So if you have an issue with pancaking, I think that's a really good option for you. I don't really have that issue because Liam really doesn't behave half the time, but it's really fantastic, and a lot of the times they are deodorizers as well. Actually, the Ascenta, this guy that I showed you, is a lubricating deodorant. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 deal, but yeah. Okay, that is, all right, those are as many ostomy accessories that I can think of. And I know there's more. I know I'm missing some when it comes to this. This is so extensive. So please let me know if I missed anything. Include them in the comments. The ostomy world just has grown and exploded, and there are so many more options. And I know as the years go on, there's going to be even more. But I really wanted to make this video as well as the ostomy bag feature video because in some of my comments, just a few of them, there are patients that are just devastated by their stoma, and they struggle with it sticking, and they don't want to leave the house, and they really just have a negative look at ostomies. And yeah, ostomies are really hard to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. But there are things out there to help you, even beyond the physical items like the accessories and the ostomy bags. There are support routes, there are groups, there are websites, there are apps, there's so many things being created to help you manage your ostomy if you're willing to use them. I know ostomy life is not perfect for everybody. It's certainly not for me. I try to show the reality of living with an ostomy, but I know that I've had patients in the past look at me and go, oh, well, she's making it look so easy. That's because I have been doing this for 14 years. I have my routine down, and thankfully, knock on some wood, my skin's been behaving. I have a beautiful stoma. I know I'm very fortunate for that. Not everybody has a stoma that sticks out as much as mine does. And remember, I also went to school to learn how to work with patients. I got to work with ostomy patients beyond me. Like, you know, I've been dealing with my own ostomy for a long time, but I also got to work with ostomy patients, and I also got to work with WOCNs. So, you know, I've really dedicated my time and my life to learning as much as I can about ostomy care, and that has really helped me. And I know I'm in a very fortunate position to, you know, have that. I just really want to encourage the patient that's struggling, like in the midst of it, and their bag is not sticking to them, and they're leaking all over, they're peeling it off every hour, it seems. it might not always be that way. And it takes time to heal skin. It takes time to find the right product. And, you know, weeks to months from now, you might look back at your current self and go, wow, I have come a long way. I know I've been there, and I've talked to many patients who have been there. So anyways, blabbering on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what I forgot. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.